much. Ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, excellencies, dear dean, professors, I have the great pleasure to welcome you here this evening for a very special event organized by the Platform Culture Central Europe that is dedicated to best practices in architecture, in urban planning, and in the end in thinking about the future of our life. We have experts with us tonight from Austria, Czechia, Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland. And on behalf of the Austrian presidency of the Platform Culture Central Europe, I invite Ambassador Martin Pammer, Director for the Multilateral Cultural Policy and Sports at the Ministry of European and International Affairs, to address the audience and say a few words. Ambassador, please.
Dobro večer svima, poštovane dame i gospodo, velika mi je čast biti s vama danas na večer. Ko smo mi, šta mi radimo? Vi ste najvjerovatno dobili taj pozivnicu za naš event danas, koji se tiče od tema, glavni tema, veliki tema, održanost. Održanost u arhitekturu, u urbanistički razvoj i uopšte što se tiče budućnost života. So, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, ambassadors, dean, pro-dean, great pleasure for me to be with you here. I took the liberty to address you shortly in Srpski. I don't speak very well, but it was an honor. Mi smo jako sretni i radujemo se da smo tu u Novom Sadu, glavni grad, kapitala Evrope 2022. I ne samo to, naravno, uopšte europski grad i želimo vama lijep večer. Mislim da ljudi koji će vama predstaviti svojim projektima su eksperti, zanimljivi i naravno poslije mi ćemo vam pozvati na neko kratak prijem. Svako vam dobro i uživajte. Hvala.
So the first presentation that will start the evening is actually from Austria, because we start in alphabetical order. I won't go into the detail of the biographies because there is no time for that. But Elina Kränzle and Istvan Antal, I would ask you to come join me here to give a presentation on resourcing commons and building trust scopes of action through social design. I'm looking forward to it. Please.
Very much for the invitation. So my name is Elina Kränzle.
I think you have to come a little bit in that direction.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm here with my colleague.
I'm Istvan Antal.
And we're representing the social design studio that is based at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. And we are just two people from a big group of students, teachers, and researchers from all kinds of fields. So the idea of the social design studio is really to bring together people from various disciplines. So my background is in urbanism. Istvan is an artist, a sculptor, but we have people from design, from architecture, from cultural studies, and the idea is to, together with these very different disciplines and very different perspectives, that we can tackle the issues and challenges of the cities of today and of the future cities as well, really more innovatively and better, because we can create more innovative approaches to adopting new measures to tackle these issues. And today, the title of our presentation is Resourcing Commons and Building Trust, Scopes of Action through Social Design. So we'll present you 3 approaches of social design that are very different, but can give you a really great, I think, idea of what social design can be and how we can create a better future for the cities in terms of the eco-social transformation as well of the cities. So I will start with the first 2 projects. So the first project is called Resourcing Commons, and it was led at our studio by Christina Schrammel and Martin Färber. And this research project was actually built on a kind of few years research study of a very dense part of the city of Vienna in the 2nd district, which is kind of in between. Here is the Danube, and here you see the Plaza, the very big green park in Vienna. And there in the middle is a very dense housing area with a lot of social housing as well, where there's a lot of young people living and as well elderly people. And through different research methods, so there you see an example of one of the big housing developments that are kind of, showing how this area looks like. And through different research methods, so we did kind of different mapping exercises, but also observations in the area, interviews with different target groups and experts, and also analyzing the public spaces of the area. It was found that what is lacking in this very dense public space, very dense area of the city, are public spaces, especially for children and older adults, and kind of a center of this area, a place to come together for the people. And there was also a big research on urban furniture. So what is urban furniture and how can we create better public spaces through also rethinking urban furniture? And there I just want to show you this platform that was created, Stadt Aufmöbeln, where there's a collection of urban furniture and new approaches to design urban furniture that makes the city also more inclusive and a better place to stay outside and enjoy the city. And based on these research kind of processes, we kind of figured out that one place to put into action all these findings would be the redesign of a park which is located here. And there you see the park before the redesign. And the city of Vienna was actually involved in this process. They anyway had to redesign or renew the park. And so social design was contracted to be part of this process of redesign. And based on the principles of participation and also of reuse and recycling, circular economy, we redesigned this park. And part of this participation process were public workshops next to the park. You see there were children involved, but also elderly people. You see here kinds of design prototypes that inhabitants of the area could use and test out and give in their wishes, their needs, their ideas for how this park could be recreated. And the other thing I already mentioned was to reuse local resources. So the city of Vienna actually has a kind of general models of urban furniture that were reused, but then you also see these bricks and these parts, these very old Viennese, specific Viennese bricks that were all then reused in a circular economy approach to redesign the park. And there you see these standard kind of parts of urban furniture in Vienna were put apart in the workshops of the University of Applied Arts and put into new designs, as well as the bricks you see here. They were taken apart and then reused again in the design of the park. And this is, you see, this is kind of a standard Viennese urban furniture, and this is what we created with the participation of the inhabitants who wished for more playful also elements in these parks. And there you see one aspect is this kind of Hollywood swing that is really very popular with the children and also with the elderly in the park. And also here we designed a kind of public loudspeaker where you could put your phone and then have in a certain area of the park play music and enjoy the music a bit. And there you see the final design of the park and the new design elements that are used with these also city standard functions. So the city could also use this as a model to recreate these kind of new furniture elements. And one other aspect was, of course, not just to redesign the park, but a great wish of the population there was that the park would also be activated and that there were things happening to really become a center for this neighborhood. And this was achieved by involving from the beginning in the research, but also in the redesign, different actors and different organizations in the area, an elderly care home, a youth center, different neighborhood initiatives, and the city of Vienna especially, to really activate the park also with different activities. There you see some bike repairs, a local choir sang at the opening, there's a flea market, and there's a bookshelf where you can exchange books. So now this park was opened and is really well received by the inhabitants of the area. And there you see the happy inhabitants using the space. Because we don't have so much time today to present the project, of course there were some challenges as well, and we can talk about that later maybe. And now I will briefly go into our new project at Social Design Studio. This is actually an EU-funded project that we have the lead at the Social Design Studio, and I'm working on that with my colleague Elina. It's called Trust Making. And the idea is to involve young citizens, youth, much more in the development of the city, and especially in the creation of green infrastructure, and at the same time also involve the city government to build capacities of city governments to work together with youth. And this program is part of the joint program initiative, Urban Europe. So the idea is that we work together with the city administration, but also with private businesses in the green economy. And we are just one part of the project, so there's 3 other cities that are involved in Europe that are also developing their urban living labs. So what you see here is actually the site. In 25 years there will be a new city quarter of Vienna housing 20,000 people. And there's already a kind of local initiative trying to bring together urban food production and urban development. And in this process we try to bring in this approach of trust making through the creation of an urban living lab. So in the next 3 years we will develop different approaches of testing. It's a very explorative way of working, different methods of involving youth in building green infrastructure. So the city of Vienna is again involved as well. And test out how young people can be involved in building green infrastructure, and how we can think more of how we can also build trust between youth, especially trust in the future and in creating a future that is still livable, also through socio-ecological approaches, and also trust in the government to do that for, like, think of these generations in the future when building new cities. So I will just show you briefly some of the activities we have done already. So we organized a summer school in July, where we worked especially again on local resources. You see here we dug a hole to look at the kind of different qualities of the soil there, because now it is still used as a farming area. And we dug out clay that we used to burn already different vessels. And so there are very playful approaches to also involve youth in thinking about resources and how resources can be reused or how they can end as well, and how we can kind of protect them as well. Yes, and in the kind of future, so now this is another example of one of our activities. We did an actors walk of the area during the Urbanized Festival in Vienna, where we involved different experts on youth, but also on green urban development, to explore the area and map out places of potential in the area, and also get to know the ecology of the area, as well as the kind of techno scene that has evolved in the area. So we're trying to really involve the different actors that also are like an entry point for youth to think about the city. We are developing with our students different kinds of mapping research processes, and we are also developing so with our partners from Tree Cycle, who are specialized in building green urban furniture, and another partner who is specialized in reducing CO2 emissions in the construction sector. We tried out with youth that are in a job training program the kind of development of terra preta, which is a way to resource soil, urban soil, to make it more nutritious again. And at the same time, this method can kind of save CO2 emissions back into the earth. So there's different ideas of how to reduce also CO2 emissions in the construction sector, and we're trying all these out in this research project and trying to involve youth already to learn about these innovations as well, and to create together public spaces in the area already. Yes, because we really believe that bringing in especially the inhabitants of the city and the youth in this topic of the climate crisis, the socio-ecological transformation, to make them our partners in these projects. And this is something I would just like to finish with, that this is a main aspect of social design, that we are not making up the solutions for the inhabitants, but we are creating together with youth. So we always involve the inhabitants of the city in these processes, already in the research on the place, but also then in the creation of these spaces. And now I hand over to my colleague Istvan to present another approach to social design.
Yeah, hello, I'm Artur Istvan, and I hope now it's working, the voice. So I am still working individually. I just started in the class, and I'm dealing with public sculpturing, playgrounds, and interactivity. And here we can see one kind of playground that I built up, and this kind of playgrounds are meeting in the intersection of applied art and fine art. So it's working as a sculpture, and also there is a certain approach how you can play with it. And this what we can see here, it's a fence that you climb over, and then you slide down on the slide, and then you have this kind of welcome feeling, you know, like how the everyday life is working when we are meeting with certain dynamic of barrier and so on. And this is the whole place. So front of the slide, it's you can see a beating stick what the police is using, but I turn it into the seesaw, and in the edge there is a stick what you, if you push a button on it, then you cover it with smoke. So actually it's a playground where you can play protest. And this is another public artwork of mine. It's a ladder, and if you climb on it, then in the beginning it's very stable, and as much you get further up, you know, it's very quickly bending down. It's a certain humor inside, it's a certain reality, and also a certain aesthetic. That's how it looks like in action. This is a diving board with two spots. You know, that like you can jump on it, you know, but only if the other person is jumping with you. You know, it's like this very simple situation when you get a position of diving board. And this is already the series of my sculptures that is dealing with the mobility. So this kind of sculptures is not fixed on the floor. It's moving around, and I'm doing this approach to somehow build up such playgrounds and playful elements into the city, what can change the position. That's how it looks like. This is on the three-land border between Austria, Slovenia and Hungary. This is a throne, and this is a special throne that you can only use and you can sit on it if two other person is also sitting on it. You know, so you need a balance to keep, and that's how it works. This is a start block. It's a special way of start block. You know, you can see it at the swimming pool that the people jumping in, and this one is like the piece that you can use with your own weight, jump on it, but it's because of the dynamic of the spring, it's throwing you out in a different direction. So like if you're starting and you have a big energy and then you're ready for something, then it always goes a little bit unexpected. And this is about it. This is pressed a little bit. This is a couch that is banded together. So if you are moving with this couch or sitting in this couch, then it have this comfortable feeling. But if you turn around yourself in the couch starting to go with you around. Yeah, this was a special task. The Wiener Linie and the Viennese public transport searched me that I have to make a sculpture in the bus stop. And I was thinking that what could fit to that bus stop, and this is like an area where is only every half an hour is coming the bus, and there is no seat, there is no shadow, there is nothing. You cannot hide yourself, and if you are stuck in such bus stop, then you really have this kind of feeling. And yeah, we can see that someone has already climbed on it, so it's possible. Yeah, but it's not so easy. Yeah. So thank you. And
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have time for no, we don't have time for questions. Sorry. We can talk later. And we also brought some of our fanzines where we put together all of the projects of last year's social design studio. And we're happy to answer your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next comes Martin Šmejc, representative from the Czech Trade Agency, if I'm not mistaken, who will tell you some things about smart cities and the Czech vision. Please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here with you. It is great to see so many people that are interested in sustainability and modern approach to our lives. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm a representative of Czech Trade Agency. We are a trade promoting agency whose aim is mostly, in most time, to connect Czech companies with their foreign counterparts and promoting Czech ideas and technologies on foreign markets. Now, I call my presentation as Smart Cities as a way to sustainability. As many of you for sure know, today more than 57% of world population lives in the cities. And the cities are producing more than 75% of great domestic products, and as well more than 70% of all emissions. And by some estimates, these figures should go up to 2/3 of population living in cities by 2050. Now, these numbers brought Czech government to the idea of tackling the problem of life in cities in the future. Because if you think about 2/3 of the population in a worldwide scale living in the cities and not thinking about the issues those cities will face, you will definitely fail. It is impossible to imagine that and not addressing those issues connected to this issue. Well, Czech government, while thinking about that, adopted a smart city strategy in late 2021, and only a few months later, Ministry of Industry and Trade and Czech Trade Organization, my organization, created a platform that is called City for the Future. And I would like to show you the first kickoff of this platform, which now connects more than 60 companies from Czech Republic.
In 2050, 2/3 of the population will live in cities. But what will cities look like? Will they offer a good quality life? We thought about this, and we've combined some of the best Czech solutions that help create smart and sustainable cities, places where people want to live. Imagine yourself in a city of tomorrow, a city for your future. The first rays of sun wake the city up and pour energy into its veins. A smart grid assures efficient distribution of energy from local sources to the closest points of demand. Sharing energy gives a new meaning to your community and gets you in sync with the cycles of nature. Yet, the sun can power your house or charge a car, even at night. How so? Thanks to battery storage that accumulates solar energy from the day. Morning routines are easy with digital identity. Your work agenda is one click away with peace of mind about online security. Leaving for a meeting? Don't skip breakfast. Scientifically balanced food with 42 essential nutrients is available in seconds. Health is a priority. Want to know if you should walk, drive a shared car, or take public transport? A mobility app uses real-time data to find the best options and keep you on track. Our city is running on renewable sources, but not exclusively. Ultra-safe small reactors cover fluctuations and ensure the city is fully energy independent. Control systems weigh and measure vehicles as traffic flows by. Those that pass are allowed into the city. Overweight and oversized ones are reported and diverted to maintain functional and damage-free roads and infrastructure. AI crossroads make traffic lights responsive to people and traffic and alert drivers through co-op units in vehicles. No worries, crossing and driving the streets is safer than ever. Hello again, AI Vision. Thanks for solving parking for me. This used to be a nerve-wracking experience, not anymore. It's a pleasure to come across a smart pole with all the public goods it provides. A charger comes in handy. Leave fire risks and lengthy charging times in the past. Cars now have battery pack coolers. Smart trees revive the city environment. Greenery and water purify the air and alleviate your mood. Forget buying and validating tickets or being checked. Simply activate your transportation pass with digital identity. Did you know hydrogen trams are extra clean and need no overhead lines? Capacity issues in peak hours are eased by modularity. Autonomous modules expand trains where and when needed. Now, let's take a break and shop online for groceries. It saves you precious time and is effortless with a personalised guide. What's it like when sustainability, nutrition and care for your health combine? The wide range of fresh local produce and data-driven superfoods provides a clear answer. Your favourite plant burger and cricket protein bar are no-brainers. Optimised logistics help deliver them to you when it suits you best with a minimal environmental footprint. Dynamic distribution of goods is crucial. AI sets strategic locations for logistics centres to supply the city with max efficiency. Using satellites and data from space, your order is processed where it makes most sense. Eager for locally produced premium quality food? Meet and appreciate the hydroponic, aquaponic and cricket farms, transforming the power of the sun into valuable nutrition. Cricket farms upcycle organic waste and provide environmentally friendly proteins. These can enhance any common food, such as fruit bars. Hydroponic farms grow plants with no need for soil. Picture an ecosystem where the sun, water and bumblebees, helped by people and robots, work together in harmony. Aquaponic farms bet on natural synergy between plants and fish. The circular system saves water and guarantees 100% organic produce. Great, plants are ready for harvest. Why not use some of them to create high-tech, nutrient-charged meals, such as your favourite green burger? Let's take a ride with fresh supplies. Autonomous robots assure the flow of goods in the production area and last-mile deliveries to customers. Warehouses use software predicting demand and supply. What a relief in optimising production and stock. It saves energy and prevents waste. Want to look inside? AI-driven X-ray vision checks quality and makes sure your orders are on track. A shipping software arranges the best means of transport and generates cloud documentation. Cargo drones are convenient for deliveries as they ease ground traffic. Rest assured, automation and robots make your deliveries smooth and reliable, and they liberate people for more creative tasks. The drone finds your location. Ready? SMS, go! With the Galileo satellite system, it knows where and you know when. Ever seen your city from a bird's eye view? There is so much going on. Big data is no longer a scary phenomenon, but a valued advisor integrated into a smart city platform. The infrastructure responds to events and people stay informed via a public portal. Grid analytics is just one of many layers where real-time data helps detect and promptly solve problems. No more blackouts. Nature suits the city centre. Green facades clean the air and cool down building envelopes by up to 30 degrees Celsius. Curious where all the water comes from? Capillary irrigation uses wastewater, a cleaning technology, and plant roots recycle and reuse it. Even bees feel at home here. Remotely monitored beehives give them full comfort. Add a rooftop microfarm and you have perks no employee would reject. A simple verification and the package is yours. New energy for your meeting. Accessing buildings has never been easier. Open the door with a simple phone gesture and you are logged in to enjoy all amenities at hand. Feel free to use HerberShares or dive into a hybrid office experience to check occupancy and handle workspace bookings. Time to enjoy meetings. Modular partitions with noise cancellation and digital blinds allow for privacy. Let's turn them into interactive walls. All files are at your fingertips, securely accessed with digital identity. How to keep everyone fresh and focused. Intelligent sensors maintain the optimal values of the interior with the environmental index. Yes, signing off. What are your plans for tonight? Hybrid personal aircraft make vertical takeoff and landing possible anywhere within a 700-kilometer radius. Where to? Beach? Mountains? Meeting friends in another city? Or joining family at home? The sky opens all options for you.
What led us to this video that might maybe look a bit more futuristic than we intended, but still, when the City for Future platform was established in 2021, we were thinking about the term smart city. What does it mean for us? And when we were thinking about it, we concluded that for most of the people living in the cities today, this is somehow scary, because smart city in the original meaning was connected with some city that is filled with data, that is filled with high-tech technologies, and the end user, which could be all of us in here, our grandmothers, our children, whoever lives in the city, should not understand the concept of smart city immediately, and at the end it could be very hostile to its end user. So this led us to rethinking the smart city term, and we wanted to make a package of Czech technologies and solutions that would not be the goal itself, but that would serve as a tool for a better future and for creation a city where most of the people could live their happy life. So we connected more than 60 companies from Czech Republic that which are producing smart technologies that are dealing with current issues in big cities that are related to the logistics, public transport, water management, waste management, that are all branches and disciplines that are somehow influencing our daily lives. And in our point of view, smart city is not the city that is filled with high-tech technologies that are not interconnected, but a city that offers a comprehensive, complex solution for everyday problems of a big environment, such a big city is. So that led us to creation of this platform. We introduced this platform on Expo Dubai 2022 for the first time, then in Budapest later this year, and now we are intending to offer this package of solutions to anybody who is interested. Meanwhile, what we are very much aware of, that the customers for those solutions are municipalities. And we all know how difficult it is for one municipality to move forward and adopt new solutions for its environment. Therefore, this platform should not only be a, let's say, suggestion for our foreign partners, but it is also a way how to rebalance the thinking in the Czech Republic. And currently we are applying for a European funded program which could help us with fundings and with implementing some small-scale examples of these solutions into Czech towns and cities, where then we could bring our partners from abroad and show them that those sustainable solutions for city lives can actually work. So our contribution to sustainability should not be seen as a, let's say, business opportunity, but as a way to rethinking our future and making the life in the big cities as comfortable as possible. So this is basically it from my side. Thank you for your attention, and I will be happy to answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll have a short musical break once again. Very short, if possible, because we're a bit behind time. So I don't know, 5 minutes, something like this. You already enjoyed the music before. Duo Vila Madalena from, let's say, Austria and Serbia, if you want to put nations on it, but probably from the world of music. That's the better description. So, please. much, Nikola Zaric and Franz Oberthaler. One more round of applause to Vila Madalena. We are now going to hear experiences from Hungary with Tamas Szentirmai, telling us about hidden potential of existing things, if I understood correctly, in Debrecen. Please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tamas Szentirmai. I'm an architect and teacher of University of Debrecen. I will be speaking about some university projects relation with sustainability in architecture. First of all, when I had this invitation, I really hadn't know what to say about sustainability. I think everybody had an association with that term sustainability. Maybe each will be different, but in Hungary, architects very often make the same mistake, that we think that the new topics, the new issues is only a technical problem. And with the sustainability is exactly the same problem. So I think in that context, the universities, the architectural schools in Hungary has a very special role to speak about that this topic. It's much more complex than a mere technological issue. And not only to speak about, but to find and develop alternatives and other much more complex solutions than only a technical solution. It's very important that technical issues, it's always very important, but not only the technical way. So what is sustainability in architecture? When I take lecture for first-year students, I generally speak a lot of contemporary topics on architecture, and so do I with sustainability, and generally I illustrate these terms with that Swiss very delicate project from Swiss architects Bers and Deplatzes in the Swiss Alps, which is a quite complex solution for sustainability, but with a very huge resources and backgrounds which were possible for them. And for Hungary, this kind of solution, it's not at all a possibility. So it means that we should think about a little bit differently about that topic. So what else can we consider as sustainability? And now we arrived to the title of my lecture, the reuse. And it's quite obvious or banal and a little bit simplifying the question that it's much more sustainable not to build than to build. But the next question, okay, so architects, what can do without building, without build? No, we have to build, but not new buildings. We need to reuse the underused or don't used situations. We have to use the existent. It can be a building, it can be an existing interior, or it can be even an existing urban situation. For reusing kind of situation, firstly, we have to find these situation. We have to find the values, the hidden values of the space. Also, in urban scale, in building scale, or interior scale. Because there is very lot of hidden values and very different values, very different potentials and reserves for using a little bit differently that was used before. And if we do a new project, this kind of reusing project, it's very important that it can be a very resilient design. It means that the new project will be very easily adaptive to the new situations, to the new use, to the new needs. And I think this will arrived to a new term, the social sustainability, because if a society like the spaces where they live, like the spaces they use, we arrive to that kind of sustainability, which is also very, very important. And the other topic is also important, that for a society, the existing, it's also very important. This is a part of their identity, part of their history, of their tradition. So if we reuse these traditions and identity, I think it's very, very important, very, very sustainability in that kind of social scale. And the last phrase, the social responsibility, is for us, for architects, that we need to speak about these topics and we need to help the society, the people, to reuse their existent heritage and identity. And now some small projects we made during the last 5 years with our students. The first will be the much more understandable after these words. It's our faculty building. The building was built in the 60s, and afterwards there were some restoration, but really mere technical restoration. I mean, they changed some windows, they made some insulation of for the exterior walls, they changed some pavements, but not a way that the utility of the faculty building changed a lot in the 60 years. But the spaces inside was the same. So we tried to make a semester course for students to find the problematic situation inside the building and to make a very small scale project, a very small scale intervention to reuse it. In the left top corner you can see the existing situation of a corridor. And it was also important to thinking about the spaces which were not used for teaching. So not the classrooms and the lecture halls, but the corridors, the staircase, the entrance hall, which was very, very underutilized before. And after the semester, we make a lecture for the management of the university. It wasn't there asked to make that project. It was absolutely a proactive project from us. But after the lecture, after the presentation of the students' work, they were absolutely convinced that it would be very useful and very important to make some of them project further, to develop them, and to build some of them, because they realized that with this kind of very small scale and very low cost intervention, they can result a very big change after the existing situation. So finally we managed to build some of these kind of small interventions, and you can see how it really changed the faculty building. After that, we have 2 more invitation such a work. This one was from the regional card. It was absolutely the same situation, a building from the 60s, and the people who were working there, they really didn't like the building. They really thought that it's not at all worth to keep it. It has to demolish and build a new one. But the problem was there were no money. So they asked us to find some other solution, maybe for the future. And it was the same situation with this kind of small-scale intervention. After the semester, they were really shocked. They were absolutely convinced, and they really didn't think at all that with this kind of small intervention, this building can be very easily changed in a very good way. I hope they will find a little money to make some of them project. And the third very similar situation was for the Contemporary Modern Art Museum of Debrecen, which has a very big entrance hall, which is really underutilizable. And meanwhile, they would like to make a lot of new function to fit it. And we made this kind of project, and afterward, during the summer, we make a small workshop. It was really just a one-week workshop for students, and they created furnitures made from cardboard. It was really resilient and flexible design, and it really fit to the museum idea to create a kind of a museum shop, to kind of a showroom, to kind of an information desk, and really easily changeable according to the program of the museum. We did the same scale, I mean furniture scale, for our faculty as well, with the students, and it's really interesting that they are making the plans, the design, and after they build the furniture itself. So it's a much more complex knowledge for them as well, and also we can emphasize that there is a lot of usable space around us, which now very, very underused. Generally, our most important program is this one. It's a bigger scale. It's an old fabric building in the center of Debrecen, which was absolutely abandoned when we found it, I think, 10 years ago. And we started to think what can be done with the building. It was also started with student courses, with student competitions, and it was absolutely proactive as well, so nobody asked us to think about that building. But step by step, we convinced first the municipality and after the university that with this kind of small interventions, it can be absolutely easily transform the building to a new communal atelier workshop building, which will belong to our department, but which will work as a really common place between university and the citizens. And now this is, I think 2 weeks ago, the photos. It's under construction, and it will be a very important role on our faculty works in the future. And now a little bit different scales and different approaches. During the COVID pandemic, obviously a lot of our courses was online, and we asked the students to find these hidden places around them in the surroundings, and to make some very small urban installations. And one of them was this one, this student. It should be a video, but I think you can imagine during the construction work, and this is the final installation. She collected the leaves and make this kind of land art project, somehow highlighted the importance of that small green part, which is not accessible at all, but it's really for everybody, but at the moment it's not possible to enter it. And social sustainability, I think this project, it's really about that topic. Half of the population of Debrecen living in big housing blocks built during the socialist period. And it was the same, that very big, like village blocks, that was never changed. Nowadays, they are making also only technical improvements, so changing the windows and making insulation, but not at all any other kind of activity for the citizens. And it was also a project with that contemporary museum. They received several hundreds of these old windows of that buildings. And we started to think about to make common public project, public installations made from that buildings, which belongs to the housing blocks, to the identity of the housing blocks. And it was also with our students during a student workshop with invited artists to make this kind of installations, and there are several results. Unfortunately, finally we couldn't build none of that project because of some administration problems. But we have other which were built. It's also in the city center of Debrecen, where they created a new boulevard through the old urban texture. So this boulevard resulted a lot of empty firewalls, and it was very very uninspiring situation. So we were asked here as well to make some kind of small installation which can be something better situation. And the left one which was built, it's also about the identity, about the tradition of the city. They make the most important buildings highlighted with this kind of steel platforms for the firewall. In the last 2 years, we were invited in an international project where we worked together with Serbian and Romanian universities to this kind of local problems. And there were 2 workshops. One was in Romania, in Jimbolia, where were a very important old clay mines and clay factory, which doesn't exist anymore. Only the mine lakes exist, but one of them was dried at the period of the workshop. And we make the same approach to find the natural values of that situation and to highlight, to emphasize these values for the habitant, because they use the lake, but they didn't understand the importance of the lake. So with this kind of very land art project, we tried to highlight the importance of the lake. And we made the same approach in Kikinda, here in Serbia, where we found an old ceramic tile factory, which is an amazing building, absolutely the same state that it was when it was working, and a very special architectural details and architectural situations. And we made the same, but now in a built environment, to highlight, to emphasize this kind of specificity of that big structure, this building. And one more built project, which is also, I think, a very important in the topic of social sustainability. It was also a student competition for Debrecen, a Holocaust memorial for the garden of the synagogue, which was in that time very underused and I can say abandoned as well. And with that very simple kind of a land art sculpture, it transformed to a very important urban part of the city. And at the end, 2 real architectural projects made teachers of our department, which show that this approach can be easily adopted also in real architecture, not only that kind of small-scale installation or interior projects. This one was made for the Technical University of Budapest for its historical building, built in the beginning of the 20th century. They wanted to create a new community hall inside the building, a multi-purpose hall with a lot of functions, but it was really difficult to put every function inside that hall. So finally we decided to make only a furniture inside that hall, which can accommodate every function which will use zinc during this multipurpose use, and which is very resilient in the way that it can transform even the space itself. So when the big door open, the one space divided to 3 smaller ones, then can be a small exhibition space and conference space and so on. And it's also very flexible in terms that if 5 years they would like to do another thing, they only take off that furniture and it can be absolutely a new difference. And the last project, which is real architecture, I mean building, it's in the city center of Debrecen, a small plot where a colleague made a new studio for their architecture studio, reused the brick found in the plot, in the wall, and to reuse the very important traditional Debrecen architectural styles of building, but reuse it a very contemporary way. And it's very interesting that generally in Debrecen people don't really like contemporary architecture, but in that project they understood the relation between the traditional Debreceni architecture and the contemporary architecture. So they really like that building. So just 2 phrases. One, it was very successful for us that with this kind of small projects, in some years, we managed to convince a lot of people that it's also a possible strategy to thinking little, but to result big. And the last one, I'm very happy that we are in that building, because I think this is sustainability, to reuse an old factory building, to reuse for absolutely a new function. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next up is Artur Zagula from Poland, who will tell us a bit more about the city of Łódź and also reusing existing things.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I wasn't in contact with Tamas before this event, but I did almost the same thing, but in a larger scale. So if we can change the... Okay, so I will say about revitalization as a tool for sustainable urban development, the case of Łódź. And I will show you some works which are on the site. Łódź is very strange city. It's like a little bit like New York. It's a great city. It was developed in 19th century, very dynamic, and it has many factories in the center of the city. And in the 90s, it was a very big problem because almost all factories were out of order, we can say. So sustainability means for us also to make a connection between past, between present and with the future. So as a politics, our city take the revitalization as a main issue, as a main goal. And the former empire textile industry is today city of modern technology and creative industries. There's a center of a city, you can see the grid. There is no many factories in here because they are tenement houses, but believe me, there are plenty of factories inside the city. So we decided as a city that we have a kind of obligation to preserve post-industrial heritage in the best possible material condition, and its consequences was also to the adoption of a strategy to return to the center of the city in order to use the existing resources for the city for sustainable development of Łódź. In the 90s, it was a kind of disaster of a city. So there was deep economical troubles, and there was a high unemployment rate, image of a great polluted city. It was like that, really. I came to Łódź, because I'm not from Łódź, I came to Łódź in late 80s, and it was like a very, very grey and polluted city. And there was also low self-esteem of citizens. And revitalization was the politics to make the self-esteem higher. It was like that. These are 90s in our city. So revitalization process was the most important issue to kind of connect the past with the future through present. And post-industrial areas becomes a space for new festivals, centers, ateliers, boutiques, studios, culture institutions, education, and things like that. So we'll change many areas of the city. So we've got only some of revitalization processes in our city. The best known and the biggest one is Manufaktura, the former Poznański factory. The other one is Scheibler's Lofts. It's a part of a big area of so-called Księży Młyn district. Another one is a former power plant, which is now EC1 Center. Another one is Art Incubator. Maybe the last one is Monopolies, and our university, I represent Łódź University of Technology, has also some works on revitalization, because part of our campus was also a former textile factory. So let's see some revitalizations. That's the biggest ones. It's, as you can see, 30 hectares. So it's one of the biggest entertainment and commercial center in Europe, we can say. It is a former Poznański factory, the biggest factory in Łódź. And it consists of not only of factories, but houses of workers, hospital, church, and a palace. The palace is now a museum, but also a municipality. And that's a big, big entertainment, commercial, educational facilities. So we changed all these things from spinning mill into cinemas and to I know many other activities. So it's 19th century architecture, which was completely changed into the post-industrial architecture with a modern design, we can say. So it has the shape of a 19th century architecture, but it has completely new function and completely new technology inside. For instance, Łódź doesn't have a real marketplace, and now we have one, because it's a courtyard in the Manufaktura center, and it can be in the summer a beach or ice rink in the winter. And this is the hotel. This was a spinning mill. And this was the hotel of yesterday's ECC meeting. Another place was Księży Młyn district. It was also a very big area of Karol Scheibler empire, we can say. So it was a big, where is it? It was a big spinning mill and housing estate for workers. And there was a villa, and the villa was the first building to refurbished. Then they changed the spinning mill, and now we are preparing all these buildings to the maybe new old function, we can say. So let's see Scheibler's Lofts, which will be the spinning mill. And this was from the early of 21st century, and it is like that today. So it was completely changed. Of course, it was all possible because of UE money. Yeah, so that's the thing. Also that this kind of innovative and quite sustainable and revitalized area was possible because of our belongings to the UE. Another project, which is a big one, it's a former power plant, and it is now a cultural, artistic, and education center, we can say. So there is a planetarium there, there is a center for science and technology here, there is a center of Polish film or movies, and also the center for comics and narrative art, and so on and so on. There is also a place for meeting, conferences, and things like that, and it's really nicely done, and it will be a part of a new city center also in Łódź. Another example is Art Incubator, is a place for artists because for Łódź the creative industry is also important. So this is the center of creative industry. There are some studios for architects, artists. There is a place for the very important Polish dance theater and things like that. It is also a conference space and a gallery. So it's it has a completely new purpose. It has a completely new function. Okay, and it's really nicely done. There are plenty of original elements on the site, and it's one of the best revitalized places in Łódź. And the last example I want to show you is a monopoly, is a former Polmos factory. Polmos means vodka factory. Yeah. And it collapsed some years ago, and it is now transformed also to the kind of cultural and commercial center. It has also two big buildings for offices and mixed use of for cinema, for theater, restaurants, and things like that. And there are some original parts also, so the character of a place stayed the same as it was in the past, but it has completely new function and completely new arrangements, we can say. So it's really a friendly place today, with a greenery, of course, and such things. It's a kind of main street with open area for the movies. Here you can see movies outside the buildings, and that's the former factory. And the last example I want to show is our campus. So Łódź University of Technology is also based on the former buildings for cotton factory of Shai Rosenblatt, and we've made with our architect, because our architects from our department of Łódź University of Technology take place with all these projects almost. Yeah, so we are part of many revitalized part of the Łódź, and of course these are also made by our architects. So the former Schweikert factory is now building for 3 new faculties, and we've got also completely new library, which is with all new facilities, I mean technological facilities, but it has the shape of 19th century Schweikert factory. So, as you can see, the examples from Łódź are the arguments that you can change the city without or continuing the identity of that city. So this is for us very, very important that we can make something new, but with a very, very strong connection with the past through the present. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll have the last presentation, which will be a bit different, both technically and in terms of content. It will be a presentation, a video by Lenka Petráková about the 8th continent. I will not tell you more about it. You will see for yourself. It's more about the future of life, but before that, I will give the word to Mrs. Tomková, Director of the Department for Cultural Diplomacy of the Slovak Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much. Hello everybody, hello directors, dear guests. My name is Jana Tomková and I am the Director of the Department of Cultural Diplomacy of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs of the Slovak Republic. I am very glad and I see so many young people here. It's very fine, really. In the beginning, I would like to thank all of you for your coming today, and I am very glad to be here with you. And I would like to thank all of Austrian colleagues and their partners for organizing such interesting event. In the Slovak presentation, we will change the earth with the sea. The project of a Slovak designer, Ms. Lenka Petráková, will present to you online through a short video film. Unfortunately, Ms. Petráková cannot be here with us, so I would like to introduce her to you. She is at this time abroad. Lenka Petráková began studying architecture at the Slovak University of Technology, receiving a double bachelor's degree from the Faculty of Architecture and Faculty of Civil Engineering. She holds the title Ing. Arch degree from the Slovak University and completed a 3-year master's degree at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna in the Hani Rashid Studio. In 2020, Lenka finished Royal Institute of British Architects at Westminster University and became a registered architect in UK and Slovakia. Since 2017, Lenka has worked for Zaha Hadid Architects as a lead. Before joining Zaha, Lenka worked in architectural offices in New York, Vienna, and Bratislava. Her portfolio of works spans across multiple countries: America, China, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Russia, Greece, France, and Austria also. Lenka is a designer of the 8th continent Ocean Research and Cleaning Station, which aims to restore the marine environment's balance by cleaning it. Lenka started to develop the project at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. Since then, the project has received numerous international awards, including the 2020 Grand Prix Award for Architecture and Innovation of the Sea from the Jacques Roger Foundation. The 8th continent was recently exhibited also in the Dubai Expo and during the 2022 UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon. I hope it will be for you interesting. This short film was for me also very, very interesting. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the 10 minutes long video.
Your Excellencies and honorable guests, my name is Lenka Petráková. I am the designer of the 8th continent, an innovative project from Slovakia aiming to restore the balance of the world oceans and create a self-sustainable platform in the ocean beneficial for the future of our planet. Oceans cover more than 2/3 of the Earth's surface, contain 97% of the planet's water, and provide us with the oxygen we breathe. Oceans are crucial for global food security and human health. They are the primary regulator of the global climate and an essential sink for greenhouse gases. Finally, there are vast reservoirs of biodiversity. But today, the oceans, seas, and marine resources are increasingly threatened, degraded, and destroyed by human activities, reducing their ability to provide essential ecosystem services. And it's time to stop the vast amount of pollution, around 12 million tons of plastic a year, entering the waters before we will have more plastic than fish in the oceans. To reverse this trend, we must not only reduce the waste we produce, which is, for example, in Slovakia almost half a ton per capita every year, we must dramatically increase plastic recycling and clean the current waste from our nature on and offshore, where it directly enters our food chain. Today, the cleaning of the ocean cannot be achieved only by technology. We need an interdisciplinary platform to educate people to change human relationship with the marine environment for generations to come. Therefore, today I want to introduce a project that, like nature, turns waste into value, offers a platform for research and education, and creates a change for generations. The 8th continent is designed as a unique technology for collecting, sorting, and recycling waste to address world pollution by physically removing debris. And its hidden power is in systematically addressing the problem by combining technology with education through its research and education center on board. The station, as an authentic, sustainable building, can improve the quality of life in the environment in which it is located. The station uses renewable energy, such as wave and tidal streams, and its roofs are constructed in structural glass with integrated PV panels to benefit from the sun exposure on the open sea. The station uses the materials it collects and recycles. Depending on the quality and kind of plastic, it could be possible to develop objects of everyday use for the crew or spare parts on board. The station is designed to incorporate technological innovations in collecting waste, water filtration, water desalination, hydroponic cultivation, tidal energy harvesting, and many more. The object consists of 5 main parts, each of which is developed based on the required characteristics of the environment and the program they perform. The barrier floats on the water surface and moves the waste towards the collector. The station collects the debris from the surface by skimming the top layers of the sea, and it allows the marine life to swim under the protective netting, so it is not swept inside the station. The unique construction of the barrier uses the wind force to help its rotation and naturally navigates the debris towards the collection points at the center of the station. The station uses tidal energy and wave energy as a renewable sources, so the snake buoys that allow the barrier to keep above the water surface help to navigate the waste, but as well, thanks to the hydraulic joints, the wave energy can be collected to power the turbine to collect the waste. The collector is where the water is filtered in multiple chambers. Debris fragments are collected, and the purified water either returns to the ocean or is used for processes at the station, like desalination, plant growing, and fish farming. The collection technology at the center of the building is designed to optimize waste handling. Solid particles are entirely removed from the water by a series of mesh and membrane filters and multiple filtration chambers through which the water flows. The Research and Education Center is connected to a collector and greenhouses for monitoring and studying water processes and quality and developing new technologies for biodegradation or recycling. The 8th continent is designed as a unique laboratory for ocean exploration, similarly to today's space stations, which conduct various experiments. The 8th continent aims to offer a platform for a wide range of scientific inquiries on the long-forgotten frontier, the world ocean. The Research and Education Center links the collector with the greenhouses to achieve the best access to the water and the ability to study its quality. This new hub for international researchers offers them a controlled environment, laboratories in the middle of the ocean, and it is to be the first of its kind. The next part, the living quarters, public spaces and technical facilities, passes through the building center and connect all the parts geometrically corresponding to the ship's keel. The station is currently proposed to host a crew of up to 50 members, technicians, marine biologists, oceanographers, or visitors. Those can travel to the station for extended periods to learn about the oceans and to help with the cleaning and research during their stay. The greenhouses resemble large cells to allow the wind to navigate the station. They consist of water tanks for water desalination or fish farming, and multi-story high hydroponic walls, allowing vertical farming for the community on board. The plants could be used as part of the daily diet of the crew, or in the cases of the halophilic plants, for future use in creating biodiesel. The proposed location for station is in the ocean garbage patches, where natural forces collect waste, but there is an option to adjust the design of the station for coastal areas. One station could not collect 1.8 trillion plastic particles currently estimated in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, or the entire amount around the globe. This proposal is designed to ideally place the stations in clusters where one carries the support infrastructure for the community and the rest is minimized to debris collection. A healthy planet needs a healthy ocean, but today ocean ecosystems that regulate our climate are under severe threat. We must take urgent actions to protect our oceans and restore them so that they can help protect us against the devastating impacts of climate change. The 8th continent was awarded, among multiple other awards, the 2020 Grand Prix Award for Architecture and Innovation of the Sea by Jacques Rougerie Foundation under the patronage of the Prince of Monaco. And it was exhibited internationally and recently during the 2020 Dubai Expo. The 8th continent is a true beacon of hope for our oceans and the world, and I hope that the 8th continent will soon float on the ocean, help restore the marine balance, and fight against the delusion that we cannot hurt the ocean by our action on shore. Thank you very much.
Quite fascinating idea and project in the oceans. So please don't be shy. There are a lot of students here, which is great. But don't hesitate to ask. This is now the opportunity. Trying to find someone.
I can't see you sadly, but I just wanted to say that, thank you very much for the possibility to present it at this forum. I'm sorry I couldn't join you today.
We have a question, please.
It's always difficult to start with the first question, but I will do this. Lenka, thank you very much for your presentation. My question is simply realistic. Where to find the money to build this 8-ocean project? It's any concrete plans to do this, or it's just in plans without any concrete realization? Tell me.
So, to be honest, I currently don't have an investor for the full project, but I'm trying to find a way how to break this to smaller projects. As you saw, there are many different aspects of it. If it is the recycling and the cleaning of the oceans, or if it is the hydroponic cultivation in water, or if it is desalination on water. And these are all problems. Those are, very close to countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the African countries, but as well in Asia. So the idea is to work on it, to start to run a series of smaller scale projects. Those would actually allow me to set up as well mock-ups for the technologies, and then throughout this process, kind of like a little puzzle, make the large station happen. I think this is a quite realistic view on it, because just to go into the world and just suddenly want to build this really large station would be very challenging. And there are companies those are interested in the smaller scale projects, so hopefully it will go that way.
Thank you. Any other questions for a speaker?
I have a question.
Please.
Hello, Lenka. I'm also from Slovakia. I'm Jana Tomkova. Tell me, the sea is very dirty. We know it, we read about it, and really is tragical. How many pieces need the sea to be clean from your 8 continents, approximately?
Thank you very much for the question. So, at the end of the presentation, there was, the idea developed about that they should work in clusters. What I was thinking about is to not have more than, let's say, 13 of them. Yes, the sea is very dirty, and to cover the entire surface, it would need much more of them because they are not so large. But the problem is that we cannot do everything at the same time. So, and just to create so many of them, to clean it, then we would come into the problem what to do with them once the ocean is clean. And maybe it would be like too large investment, and then we would have to think about how to reuse the stations. So the idea was that yes, there is one cluster, or maybe there are 3 different clusters, and they will kind of travel around to different locations. But the problem is that we as well have to stop the entire system of the waste management we currently have, because to actually be able to clean the ocean, we have to stop bringing the trash into the ocean. So there has to be a system change on shore, and then the cleaning offshore. And that it's for now the idea. It is as well true that this will take a bit. It's not possible to count with everything being clean, let's say, in 1 year or 2 years. It's a longer process, but I think it's a process that is worth talking more about.
Thank you very much. I think since we're a bit behind time, that's it. Thank you very much for participating, even remotely. It worked very well.
Thank you very much for the option.
All the best. And with this, we're closing tonight's public event. I want to thank everyone who was involved, especially our hosts here at the cultural station Liman, Opens Youth Cultural Center, who were, as you can see, extremely professional. Everything worked, people responsible for the audio and video, all the speakers. I think it was very inspiring. And with that, you will have the opportunity to listen to some music again. And for the final thanks, I will give again the word to Martin Palmer.
So I think this was a really interesting evening, exciting, and something completely new. I understood that everybody speaks perfect English, so I would like to thank you all for coming. On behalf of the Platform Culture Central Europe, you saw we had representatives from all countries, and again I would like to thank Kulturni Center Liman, faculties of architecture who have participated, everybody who has contributed, but above all my colleague Adrian Feix and Mira from the Cultural Forum in Belgrade. Thank you very much and enjoy. We have a nice reception now, and I hope you were happy tonight and can take something home. Doviđenja, svakom dobro, hvala.